Well, I'm the CEO and founder of Group K Diagnostics, and our goal is to revolutionize rapid blood testing and improve patient outcomes. Now, I could sit here and tell you some very boring statistics, or some very important but boring statistics about why diagnostics has not faced a lot of innovation recently. Things like 36% of abnormal test results don't get reported back to patients. I can tell you about patients I've seen in clinics that I've done engineering work in, where they've had devastating outcomes when they didn't get liver function test results back and they went into liver failure from different medications. But today I'll tell you a story a little bit more personal to myself, that I had a preemie 6 weeks ago. And something that happens with preemies is they have jaundice. And today's jaundice tests, even for newborns, require 600 microliters of blood. My son was stuck over 8 times by his heel in the next week or so. And what was devastating for me to watch was the solution that we have on deck only requires 15 microliters of blood. So obviously there's tons of room for innovation here, and our solution is a Chroma Health Kit, a handheld chemistry and infectious disease analyzer that would all-in-one analyze someone's blood or urine in certain instances to give laboratory quality diagnostic results, just like you would get from in the US, LabCorp or Quest or any sort of pathology diagnostic laboratory. So with a finger prick, in consultation with the physician, we're able to treat the patient without a complex lab, without needing complex equipment, within an hour in the original appointment. So somebody walks out with their actual care plan using a paper microfluidic cartridge and a smartphone app that's embedded with our machine learning and mobile processing procedures to process and analyze that data. Just to briefly touch on some traction we have a first-in-kind federal partnership with the CDC for a rapid Zika test that will be first of its kind, and that's on our infectious disease side of the platform. We also have a deal in progress with McKesson as a distributor. We don't see distribution as our only path forward, but it is one of our paths forward. And we also are in the process of closing a strategic partnership with a tier 1 pharmaceutical company that's governed by a confidentiality agreement. We have 2 issued patents as well as 3 pending, and several other partnerships pending our FDA approval. To give you an idea, this is a long time coming. We've been around for about 4 years. In those 4 years, we were able to take kind of a technology that's known, paper microfluidics, and turn it into something that's scalable, patent that process, place it into a cartridge, build our own in-house low-cost volume manufacturing procedure, build a flexible clinical image developing station so that we eliminated the need for an expensive piece of hardware that would sit and clog up a physician's office, and then build our easy-to-use machine learning and computer vision analytics app. We combined all that together to offer bilirubin actually as the first test on our platform. That's currently under FDA review, just a couple months short of me being able to use it when I needed it for my son. Our product roadmap in the future covers things like ALT and AST, several other liver function analytes, as well as glucose, total protein, albumin. For those of you who have a clinical background, you'll recognize these as part of the comprehensive metabolic panel, the CMP, one of the most widely used clinical tests here in the US. And then we also have plans later next year to launch these for at-home testing in concert with a physician still. But we've seen during the pandemic with telehealth that people are not going to get their lab work done anymore. And we'd like to change that, just like we've seen it change with COVID testing. So this is a very brief snapshot of our metabolic line. We also have plans in the infectious disease space that continue on with our CDC partnership. And I am excited to see as we continue adding tests onto our product and our cartridges. To go into the market entry and our business model, we manufacture our devices in-house because it is a proprietary manufacturing process that we're able to scale up paper microfluidics so cost effectively. And we would sell these to physicians at wholesale prices that are below the rate of Medicare reimbursement here in the US, which is quite low to those who are abroad. These physicians would be able to reimburse via existing CPT codes through insurance carriers. And we'd even be cost low enough that self-pay would still be viable for patients without insurance, as we still see that as a problem here. To give you an idea on the margins, our COGS are significantly low enough that we would be able to make a significant profit, even with the PAMA cuts that Medicare is facing through Congress in the coming year or 2 left. The market size and momentum of diagnostics has increased drastically in the last couple of years. We've seen a 33% decrease in on-site doctor's visits in 2021, a 12% increase in telehealth visits, but with that still, we've seen global demand for rapid diagnostics at an all-time high. People are going into urgent cares now. You can't get site visits appointments with your physician. You have to go to urgent care. And urgent care doctors simply do not have the ability to call back and give results to folks who are coming in for a brief visit. We are ideal for this market and ideal for increasing the ability of telehealth to expand beyond a simple phone call. In terms of our competitors, obviously we compete with the traditional folks like Quest and LabCorp. We're different than them as we're on site. We're not transporting our diagnostics. We're able to be stored at room temp and give results in an hour turnaround time. But compared to things like Abbott's iStat and Piccolo, we are quantitative, just like they are. We're able to be stored at room temp. We're able to do patients simultaneously. If our leading competitor is a Piccolo, if you have a Piccolo in your lab, you have to have patients done in series. We're able to have patients done in parallel. And then compared to folks like Site, OneDrop, and our good friends OraSure right up the road from us, we are a multi-platform, a multi-test platform. We do both infectious disease and molecular diagnostics and metabolic diagnostics. And we also do multiple tests on the same cartridge instead of one at a time like a traditional pregnancy test. We have a strong science-based team. Myself, I'm the founder and CEO. Dr. Laura Ferguson is our chief scientific officer. She has over 20 plus years experience in diagnostics and research and development. Sam Parks is a former two-time successful founder. He's our chief technology officer, as well as a strong team of other scientists who support the R&D, the FDA regulations and test and clinical trials and product development in-house. Our ask for this round is a $3 million raise that will fund the bilirubin authorization, a Zika authorization, which will be an emergency use authorization, as well as the submission of ALT, AST, those next two steps in our pipeline, and allow us to continue expanding the team to support the ability to fast track and multi-track both metabolic and infectious disease pipelines at the same time. We have 1.25 million of that committed, primarily from existing investors. We have a strong existing investor base, and we have that about 2 million remaining open.